We can hear,
Okay.
yes.
Yesterday only Prasad told me that to give a speech today. I don't have any slides, but my speech is dedicated to our lovers of homeopathy more than the doctors of homeopathy, because there are lots of questions which comes to the normal mind about homeopathy, and most of them are attending our regular Zoom meetings for the last 130 days. And I would like to touch certain areas here and there so that you will get an idea of what is going on in medicine, the medical field, and how homeopathy influences this medical field, and what is the role of homeopathy in this medical field. Starting from WHO now has two areas. One is the modern medicine. The second one is the traditional and complementary medicine. The TNCM, that is traditional and complementary medicine. And in that one, what we see is there are four medical systems, or that which gives medicine, and there are other systems also. The other systems which does not use medicine are acupuncture, osteopathy, chiropractic, kinesiology. And the medical systems are in traditional and complementary medicines are homeopathy, Ayurveda, Chinese medicine, and herbal medicine. Out of this, herbal medicine is not a system in a way, but everybody using some herbs here and there in every country, they are using it. So that also is not a real medical system as such. Then comes the homeopathy, Ayurveda, and Chinese medicine. And homeopathy is practiced in more than 100 countries. And homeopathy is more popular because of 2-3 reasons. Actually, all these 3-4 systems are the major systems in alternative medicine. But in Chinese medicine and Ayurvedic medicine, the problem is the medicines are not available throughout the world. And if they wanted to treat a patient, they have to bring the medicine from either India or China. And the medicines are costly, and importing licenses, these problems are there. And that's one of the reasons why Ayurveda and Chinese medicine are behind homeopathy in a way. But in principle, and to the approach, and in the approach towards treatment, we are in the same boat in a way. But homeopathy has one advantage. The advantage is the medicines are available throughout the world now. Especially now the Amazon, Flipkart, everybody is selling, marketing homeopathic medicines. And also because of the minuteness, to treat a patient, we need only some globules in a way. So that itself is one of the advantages of homeopathic medicine. But there are questions about homeopathic medicines. Lots of malaise propaganda is going on against homeopathy, but still there are two questions which usually is to be answered. The first one is, there was this allegation that homeopathic medicines are placebo. When we were students, we were taught that according to the Avogadro's principle, homeopathic medicines are only seen only up to the 12th potency. So that was the thinking for around 200 years of homeopathy. Although homeopathy started in 1790, until 2010, the feeling or the thinking was after 12th potency, it is difficult to identify, it is not possible to identify the medicinal material in the medicine which we give. So that was one of the biggest allegations we have to counter. But by 2010, what happened is the nanotechnology came, and Jayesh Bellare and a group of scientists in Mumbai IIT, they could prove that there is medicine until the 200th potency. They brought some medicines from the market, manufactured by different pharmaceutical companies and conducted study on that. And by nanotechnology, they found that there is medicine. They could prove that there is medicine until the 200th potency. Again, they made a statement that in the subsequent potencies also, the medicinal material can be found out. But now we have found out only up to 200 potency. So this placebo allegation was somewhat we could get through. And the next one is the modus operandi of the homeopathic medicines. The modus operandi means how the homeopathic medicine acts, how it works in a disease. Because when you look at the modern medicine, what we see is the medicine is directly acting on the disease, suppressing it. If the disease is manifested in the blood, they reduce that thing in the blood. For example, diabetes. The sugar level in the blood is decreased by metformin. So there is a direct link between the medicine and the disease. But in alternative systems, the problem is we are not directly reducing or increasing the disease in any way. What we are doing is we are stimulating the natural forces, the natural curative force of the living being. And this natural force in the living being is driving the disease away. So it is a more diverted method in a way. So our medicine for diabetes may not be able to show that it reduces the sugar, but in a different way. So here the advantage is every living being has the capacity to overcome the diseases. That's why no living being has been extinct from this world. And even animals who are living in the forest and all, they survive all the viruses, bacteria, everything. And in this COVID epidemic also, what happens is 90% of the world population is not getting COVID. Why? The answer is general immunity. One good thing about COVID is now the World Health Organization and everybody has started appreciating the role of the natural immunity or the general immunity. So far, what the medical field was thinking about is for every bacterial disease, for every viral disease, we will have a vaccine. And now they have found that this is not possible. So one great thing that is happening now is a paradigm shift in the thinking of the people around the globe, that they have become more and more aware of the importance of the general immunity. And people started thinking about how to improve the general immunity. And there lies the role of the alternative systems, like homeopathy, Ayurveda, Chinese medicine and all. So this thinking will help in future. That's what I said. That's why I said that there will be a shift in medical field. And so, because so far what they were thinking is, for every bacteria, we have a medicine, antibiotics. For every virus, we will find something else. For every disease, we will find vaccinations. So how many diseases they could find out these vaccinations? Of course, antibiotics, vaccinations, and surgery, these three helped modern medicine to grow beyond certain levels. But the same thing is now hitting back, boomeranging in a way. We know that when this COVID came, World Health Organization itself said there is no medicine for that, no vaccination for that. But another thing they said is only symptomatic treatment is possible. There lies the scope of homeopathy. Homeopathy was always saying that symptoms are the guide to the remedy. Symptoms will give you the idea about the illness. And that illness can be eradicated by treating these symptoms. So this is one point which came from WHO itself. This is a great thing for us. Again, you all know that in India and China, the alternative systems are predominant. India is the only country where there is a ministry for Ayush or alternative systems. And one thing, when you look at this, the whole pandemic, what we see is 42% of the world population is in China and India. India includes Bangladesh, Pakistan, and the South Asian countries also, Indian subcontinent. And the death is very low in these countries. Many people say we are the third world countries, undeveloped countries. We are lagging behind Europe, America, Canada, and such countries in many aspects in health. So the so-called modern techniques and everything. But why there is such a low death rate? People who are interested in research should look into these things. But usually it is forgotten because certain truths will come out. In China, Chinese people always use some Chinese herbs and everything for anything and everything. In India also, we have the Ayurveda, we have the homeopathy, and around 60% of the Indian population is using homeopathy, Ayurveda, and allopathy. So, what is the reason for the low death rate in India and China? This should be looked into because this shows that alternative systems have a great role to play. And the percentage of death rate is a pointer to that. Then another important thing which we see in the medical field is many times when the other systems of medicine talk about medical field, they say, we have made great progress in medicine. That's what they say. We have more, the lifespan of the people have increased a lot. But the question is, the lifespan has increased, but people are getting diabetes, hypercholesterol, blood pressure, rheumatism, everything from the age of 35, 40, and they are under some kind of medication from the very, very young age. Even juvenile diabetes, which comes in infants, it's also increasing. And we all know that in Kerala, some 40 years back, the dialysis was done only in the medical colleges, the 5 medical colleges in Kerala. Now in every junction, you have a hospital which does dialysis. And recently, in the last decade, the number of infertility clinics and hospitals have increased like anything. So what is the reason for this? Now we claim that we have more dialysis centers, we have more infertility centers, we have this and that hospitals, the number of hospitals are increased. All these we claim that this is the highest level. But is it a pointer to health? If you have more hospitals and more patients, can you say that the health scenario has improved? No, not at all. That shows that the health scenario is going down and down and down. So there is some problem in the way on which we were going on in the field of medicine. This should be changed. How we can change it? Because people have already started thinking about alternatives. COVID is one good example. Arsenic gel was sold like anything throughout the world. More people are going into that. Coming to the methods in medicine, there are many methods in medicine like isopathy, where the same contagious principle or the disease product is given to the patient. And vaccination is one of the methods in isopathy. where you are giving a virus, live or dead, or bacteria, or whatever it is, through the vaccine and producing antibodies. So this is isopathy. Then recently we have heard about plasma therapy. It's also one type of isopathy in a way. The next one is antipathy, where the opposite is given. This was a very predominant method some 100 or 150 years back. For constipation, we give medicines producing diarrhea, or for diarrhea, they give medicine producing constipation. So opposite is given. Next is homeopathy, where the similar is given. That means a medicine which can produce similar symptoms are given to cure the disease. But in allopathy, they don't have any principle. They use antipathy, they use isopathy, they use everything and everything. So allopathy doesn't have a principle of its own in medicine. Then we have these substitution therapies, which also people think that it is allopathy. For example, giving insulin for a diabetic patient. If you are giving insulin, what we are doing is it's a substitution therapy. It doesn't belong to any system of medicine. Whatever is deficient is given. This is the way insulin is given. Nowadays, we see a lot of people having thyroid problems, where thyroxine is given or thyronone is given. It's also, in a way, a substitution therapy. Then comes the vitamin deficiencies, mineral deficiencies, where they give the vitamins and minerals. So these are the methods that are used in the medicine. And what we can see is the application of these things at some point of time helps in certain areas, and no medicine is complete in a way, because no one system can cure all the diseases in this world. We need different types of systems based on different principles, and the method of preparation, the application, everything is different in different systems of medicine. That's why when some people talk about combining all the systems of medicine, we don't find it a solution for anything, because everything is in different, these are parallel lines which cannot be met or we cannot meet. It's a parallel lines. So that is not possible. Then coming to the origin of diseases, how the disease originated from the old records, what we see is the first was scabies, which are seen in Israelis, because at that time the medical history was written from other countries like Greece and all the advanced countries at that time. And we find scabies. Then we found throughout the world, we found leprosy sanatoriums at one point of time. Then came tuberculosis. Then most of these leprosy sanatoriums were converted to TB sanatoriums. We had a leprosy sanatorium in Koretti near Trichur. And later it was turned to converted to TB sanatoriums in many places. And after some time, we saw this allergies, asthma coming in. So there is a shift. The patterns are changing about the diseases. But now what we see is 70% of the diseases are chronic diseases, which affect the human beings, or 70% of the population have this. So what we see is, in children, we see allergy, asthma, that is, and autism. Actually, this autism was very few, or 1 in 1,000, some 10 or 15 years back. Now it is 1 in 80 children, 1 in 80 children. Although we cannot establish the relation between vaccination and autism, many scientists have written several articles saying that vaccination has a role in the increase of autism. Anyway, from 1 in 1,000, it has gone to 1 in 80 children. This is a very serious problem which the medical world has to address, because if it goes on like this, 50% of the population which we see now will be having some kind of mental problems, autistic problems. And nowadays we see in America, sometimes they say that one man took a gun and shot all the children or the teachers in the school and all those things. And finally, after some days, we'll hear that he had some emotional problems. So this is going to be a big problem. Even in our cities, we have more and more schools for the disabled children. And it is increasing day by day. Then the next thing is the adults. From the age of 30, what we see is many people have hypercholesterol, hypertension, diabetes, carcinoma is on the increase. Every chronic disease is on the increase. And now we have specialized hospitals for each and every disease now. We have diabetic clinics, we have cancer centers. Like that, it is going on and increasing and increasing. Then in women, what we see nowadays is children or girls above the age of 15, when they come to our clinic and complain of stomach ache, and if we do a scan, we will find that they have polycystic ovarian disease. That's a big problem now. And then many women have these thyroid problems. And another important thing is rheumatoid arthritis. Why people are getting diseased at this young age of 30, 35 and 40? And after 40, they live on tablets. Then coming to the treatment side. In the treatment side, what we see here is, of course, there is the cure, very few percentage. Most of the disease, these chronic diseases are suppressed by the modern medicine. Suppression means when you take metformin for diabetes, what is happening is the sugar level, the postprandial or the fasting sugar level will go down. But the disease is progressing. That's why nobody who has taken metformin was cured of diabetes in this world. Nobody claims also that. What is happening is the sugar level in the blood is reduced or suppressed. But at the same time, the disease is progressing. I'm talking about these main diseases because most of our lovers of homeopathy may be knowing these things and they are facing these problems in their house. And nobody has been cured with metformin, which is given for diabetes now. And many people start with half a tablet. Then after 2 years, they take 1 tablet. Then after 3 years, they take 2 tablets because the disease is progressing. And what we see is more patients need dialysis and kidney failure. This is the ultimate result of using metformin for a long time. The same with the hypertension, the same with cholesterol. Cholesterol, you know, when I was a student, the total cholesterol level, allowable total cholesterol level was 250. Then in America, they constituted a committee to study on the cholesterol, and they found that, or they recommended that those who have total cholesterol level more than 200 should take medicine. And what is this medicine? It is statin. Statin, we all know, if you just look into the Google, you will find that statin produces problems with the liver, in the liver. And the continuous use of statin, your liver function test will go wrong. That's what is happening. Then this same committee recommended that everybody who is having a cholesterol level above 200 should take medicine. And finally, there was an inquiry by some journalists, and they found that this committee people Each and every one got $200 million from the pharmaceutical companies for such a recommendation. So their aim was, they knew that people above the age of 40, usually the cholesterol level will be above 200. And they wanted to bring in so much millions of people to take this statin. And in turn, millions were earned by the pharmaceutical companies. And these committee members also get a part of it. This is what is going on. Then the question comes, recently, just 1 week back, you might have, today you might have read in the newspapers about our former Indian cricket captain, Sourav Ganguly. He's only 48 years old, 68 kg weight. And you know, he's a great sportsman, world-class sportsman. So there is no, every day he's taking exercise, everything for hours and hours. And this man got a block in the heart, 90% block, and they put a stent. What is the explanation for this? Is there any explanation? So one doctor was saying, there also the commercial thing comes. Now the doctors are saying what you should do is everyone should go for a scan or a ECG every 6 months. Is it the solution for that? Again, you have to spend more money. Again, this money will go to them. Is this the solution for that? See, we have the solution for that. These alternative systems have the solution for that. One thing common which we see in the alternative system is, in Ayurveda, you know, there are 3 components or 3 things which produces chronic diseases: Vata, Pitta and Kapha. Like that, in homeopathy, we have Psora, syphilis and psychosis. Psora produces inflammatory conditions or inflammatory diseases. Syphilis produces degenerations, ulcerations. And psychosis produces all the tumors in this world. All the tumors, all the new growths. So this is this kind of explanation is there in alternative systems. You know, in India, every year, 5 lakhs to 10 lakh people are coming for Ayurvedic treatment. So the Western world is looking for these alternative methods. The only thing is that we have to live up to their expectations. And about immunity. Now everybody is talking about immunity. How to increase the immunity. Again, what they say is, what they are looking for is artificial immunity. Whenever you create artificial immunity, your system will become lazy. You have a mechanism in everybody's body. There is a mechanism. Every living being has a mechanism to improve the immunity. And that thing should be promoted, stimulated by the medicine. But what is happening now? They are trying to create artificial immunity by producing some antibodies. Now, a more complicated way of going through the mRNA and all those things are coming up. So, finally, what is going to happen? Every 2 years, in the last decade, every 2 years, we see a new virus coming up. We know the chikungunya. The chikungunya was there before also. But what happened is the mutant variant was more stronger and it killed many people. Then we had the H1N1, Nipah, everything is coming. In the last decade, you have seen at least 5 pandemics or epidemics. Whether these people will be able to make vaccines for anything and everything? Whether how many vaccines were used in made for these new viruses? Many, even SARS, AIDS, many diseases doesn't have a vaccine. So this artificial, going after this artificial method to create immunity is going to fail. And in a way, we are facing that one. In a way, the advanced countries now are facing this problem. We know in advanced countries, many people take lots of vaccinations. And the result is their natural immune system is getting lazy. And whenever a new virus or bacteria comes up, they cannot cope with that. And sudden death, everything occurs. So what is the attitude of homeopathy towards bacteria? That question may come in your mind. See, we know that there are favorable and unfavorable bacteria in our body. Both are operating in our body. And you cannot kill all the bacteria and viruses in this world and live in this world happily. It is not possible. Every living being should be able to live in harmony with the good and bad bacteria or viruses in the world. There are many viruses waiting to bring in the next epidemic or next pandemic, because they are not addressing the real problem, the root problem. Why the domestic animals or the animals which are living near us, their bacteria or viruses are attacking us? How this mutation takes place? In 2015, Robert Chan, the WHO head of the WHO, in a Geneva conference told the doctors, overuse of antibiotics will produce more and more new diseases. The bacteria will become resistant to these antibiotics. And the last 100 years was of antibiotics, belonged to antibiotics. And now we are paying the price for that. He said that all the domestic animals have antibiotics in them. The milk we drink every day, as our Latif sir was saying, arsenic, all the chemicals, many things are there around us, and we are all part of it now. So what he said is, reduce the usage of antibiotics. Otherwise, these viruses and bacteria which are around us, which are near to us, will undergo mutation and will become more and more stronger and will attack the human beings. This is what happened in chikungunya. The disease chikungunya was there for around so many years. But in the last 15 years only, it started affecting the human beings and produced death. So what we are expecting is more and more viruses will come in the next 10 years, 15 years, you will see more and more of it. Then, regarding the treatment that is going on in various or many diseases, one thing is, see, about surgery. Many people used to ask this question, what is the attitude of homeopathy towards surgery? Around 60–70% of the surgeries performed now does not require any intervention. I can tell you the examples. When I was a small child, many of my colleagues were not having their tonsil. It was removed, because whenever somebody gets tonsillitis, they used to remove it. Then WHO said after 10 or 15 years of tonsillectomy, after removing the tonsils of millions and millions of people, WHO said tonsil is the policeman of the throat which prevents the infections going into the lungs, because the pneumonia has increased once they remove the tonsil. So they said it should not be promoted. And now we see the tonsillectomy reduced to 10%. Then came the next one. The next target organ was appendix. If anybody opened the abdominal cavity, they will remove the appendix also, saying that this has no use and it can get inflamed at any point of time. So it is better to remove it now. That was the explanation. But after some time, they found that appendix has some immune function and then gave the direction that it should not be removed unless and until it is necessary. We were saying this from the very beginning. Every organ in this body, every organ in any living being has its functions, and it helps a harmonious life. Then from tonsillectomy, it went to appendicectomy. From appendicectomy, it came to hysterectomy, the removal of the uterus, sometimes along with the ovary, total hysterectomy. So anybody having a bleeding or any problem with the periods or any slight enlargement of the uterus or endometrium or anywhere, they used to remove the uterus, saying that if you have enough children, there is no use of this organ, remove it. And then they found that there are lots of things, side effects. And even though after the reproductive period also uterus has some functions, and the WHO and the gynecologists now are not promoting hysterectomy. Now it is the time for prostatectomy. Now they are removing the prostate. If every man above the age of 50, the prostate will be enlarged. Then the hospitals will say, you have the chance of getting carcinoma. Your PSA is high. Remove it immediately. So now the target organ is the prostate. So this is this is how the medical field is going on. What they have done years back, they will say this is wrong after 10 or 15 years. Then again, they will say after 15 years, this is wrong. So this is going on and on and on and on. And the hospitals thrive only because of these surgeries. That's the truth everywhere in the world. And there is an excess. The health insurance, the first one is the top one is the pharmaceutical company, then the insurance company, then the hospitals. The chain of hospitals sponsored by the insurance company. So this is the way the whole medical field is going. Then there is surgeries like for stones in different parts of the body, like renal stone or gallbladder stone or pancreatic stone or anywhere. See, I told you in carcinoma, there are only 3 methods: chemotherapy, radiation, and removal. In all this, what we see is they are removing the result of diseases, not the disease. They are removing the waste, but not the cause of the disease. So there comes the role of homeopathy. We have remedies to stop the tendency for the formation of stone in an individual. That's why many people who have been operated to remove the stones, they have to do it again after 5 years, because by this time the stone again forms and reach a certain proportion or size, and then it has to be removed. So what is going on is they are just removing the results of the diseases, not the disease itself. So this one, what we can see is they are superficially doing things in a way and cheating people in a proper sense. So when you go to America, if when patients come there, what they say is, I have rheumatism and I am taking anti-inflammatory and I am taking painkillers. Whether you have got something different to offer, whether you have a curative treatment for this. Here in India and other third world countries, nobody asks this question. Actually, this is where they are thriving on it. We know that in Kerala, the highest percentage of medicines are sold in Kerala, in India. So what is happening? Those who are having rheumatoid arthritis keep on taking painkillers and anti-inflammatory remedies and going on with this. And in case of autism, there is a notion that autism, what I mean is autism, learning disorders, hyperkinetic, all those things comes, they are more or less related. And they propagate that there is no treatment for autism. I would like to say that homeopathy can cure all the learning disorders, all the hyperkinetic people. And if they continue the treatment for 4 or 5 years, the autism can be reduced, the percentage of autism can be reduced to a great extent. And at least we can make them do whatever their personal things, at least in very, very bad cases. In some cases, they recover 100%. So these kind of things, even menopause. Menopause also is a $100 million business. When a woman reaches menopause, they are advised to take the hormones, hormone substitution. So what they have to do is they have to take it lifelong. How many of our grandmothers took it? It's a phase of life, and that phase will change. If your body is healthy enough, you won't have any symptom. But if you have some symptoms, you will have to take some medicines for a period of time, not the whole life. If you take hormone continuously throughout your life, your whole system will be affected, because hormones affect the whole system, not one part. So what I am saying is, people should know these things. Even carcinoma, by chemotherapy or radiation or by surgical removal, what they are doing is they are just removing the tumor. But the susceptibility to form the tumors, the tendency to form the tumors, or the thing that produces its tumors are remaining in the body. Only homeopathy can treat this. This is what the public should understand. Because even if you do, I have many carcinoma patients. Very few people come in the very beginning, the first stage. Most of the people are coming in the fourth stage, as our Sir Sir was telling. They come after radiation, chemotherapy, or operations and many things. The disease is still remaining there. If they are ready to undergo the treatment properly, we can prevent the recurrence of these tumors. You might have heard that usually women who get a carcinoma breast, in one breast it is removed, and after 10 years or 5 years or even 6 months, it comes in the next breast. And that is removed, it may go to another area, metastasis to a different area. So this is happening. Well, homeopathy is the answer for this. So what we are saying is, this is not just a superficial removal of the results of diseases. We are not doing that. What we are doing is, we are going deeper into this, and we are trying to root out the cause. We are trying to remove the cause. This is the medicine we want. Today or tomorrow, they will, people are slowly coming to this, because they are looking for remedies which doesn't have side effects. They are looking for, so what should be a medicine? There is a question. A medicine is that one which can cure the disease, which can improve the immunity of the patient, and which does not do any harm to the body or any organ in the body. So these three criteria cannot be fulfilled by the modern medicine at any time, at any point of time. They say that in many times we hear about research. What they want is, they want the research to be done in their parameters. After taking your medicine for diabetes, whether the sugar level is coming down or not, that is the only parameter they want to know. So what they want is, this is the problem with the medical field. All the parameters are set by modern medicine. And the alternative systems, they can never satisfy or fulfill these parameters. Because they are following one method, we are following another method. We have to set our own parameters. And finally, the result is the most important thing. Whether you can cure it or not is the biggest question, not how to explain it. Can they claim that there is a cure for any of these chronic diseases? I know many people are listening to this. Have you seen anybody got cured of their diabetes with metformin? Anybody got cured their hypercholesterol with statin? Anybody has cured this rheumatoid arthritis, rheumatic arthritis, whatever it is? You won't see that. But still people are taking it. It's going on. Then they say that they have done research for so many years. Many research is done for so many years, and then they are bringing out the medicine. When I was in America, I had a radio talk, a phone-in program where people can ask questions. And one man asked me this question. Allopathic medicines are coming with so much of trial, research, studies, and they have many parameters to fulfill. Then only it is coming to the market. What about your homeopathic medicine? This was the question. I told him, okay, you are doing all this. 2 years you are withdrawing it from the market. The whole world is banning your medicine. Why? What is your answer for that? If you have done everything, all the research, everything, why your medicines last only for 5 years? Our medicines are lasting for 200 to 225 years. This is the answer for. Then, what is happening is, even in this COVID vaccine, you know the third trial. Usually a vaccine is prepared in 2 or 3 years. They have bypassed many things and bringing out in 9 months. So what happens is, the remote effects of their medicines are not at all studied. Every pharmaceutical company is competing with the other one to bring out their medicine at the earliest to the market. This is what is happening. So the immediate effects are studied and remote effects are not properly studied. So that's the reason why their medicines last only for 2 to 5 years. And nowadays what happens? Many people are under medication for various medicine, for various diseases, like our chronic disease, which I was listing before. What will happen to them if they take this vaccine? Have they done any study on people who are taking cholesterol medicine or diabetic medicine or rheumatic medicine? No. So that is the problem. A good percentage of the total population is taking all these medicines. And when they inject this vaccine into them, what will happen? Nobody knows. So these are the problems. So the main thing I am saying is, I am not blaming any system of medicine, but what I am saying is there should be a shift in the way this medical field is going on for the last so many years. Instead of suppressing its symptoms and giving a superficial relief, they should think about getting a cure. And this cure is possible only with the alternative systems now. This is the situation which brings these American people and the European people to India and China. Then what about homeopathy? What will be the future of homeopathy? Many people are skeptical about this future of homeopathy. But I would like to say that the story of America in 1910, because of the Abraham Flexner report, 22 homeopathic medical colleges were closed down. But by 1980, again homeopathy started growing. There are around 25 academies for homeopathy there now. And many insurance companies are paying for homeopathy also. Because I myself have gone there at least 15 times. That's why I'm telling this. So it is growing back. Why it is growing back? It is not due to the support of the WHO. It is not due to the support of any pharmaceutical companies. It's not due to anybody, any political figure or anybody. It came back. And homeopathy is the most individualized medicine. Now people are talking about individualized medicine now. Because every individual is different. Every individual has different diseases. 100 people having diabetes have 100 different symptoms and problems. So people have started talking about individualized medicine. Homeopathy is the first individualized medicine. That's why even in COVID, for a cure, we are all using many medicines, depending on each and every individual's mental and physical properties. This is the way we are looking into that. So the future of medicine is individualized medicine, and homeopathy stands first in it. Then now they are talking about the genetic medicine, genetic engineering. What is this? We were saying that through the myosomes, or Ayurvedic people were saying that through Vata, Pitta, Kapha, and homeopathy people are saying that through psora, syphilis, and psychosis. The constitution is embedded with these myosomes, and chronic diseases comes to the individual. So now they are searching for that in the genes. They are searching for the Vata, Pitta, Kapha, and psora, syphilis, and psychosis in the genes. This is the situation now. Then comes the one criteria which people are looking for is, people are all aware of the side effects of the medicines. Now people are looking for a medicine which doesn't have side effects. There is a saying, if a medicine cannot cure, it should not have side effects at least. So this is one of the criteria which promotes homeopathy. And another one is, it was Hahnemann who studied the emotional and the physical aspects of every disease. And that's why in our Materia Medica, we have, for every medicine, we have the symptoms which was manifested in the mind and the body. And now, you know, throughout the world, doctors are saying mental stress can cause any diseases, any disease. Mental stress, avoid stress. So this is what Hahnemann has said. Another important thing which you can remember is, when they were giving medicines directly to the vein or artery through injections and everything, it was Hahnemann who said or gave these sweet pills. And now they are all coming to that. Now they are making everything into pills, avoiding all the syringes, all the needles. It took around 200 years after Hahnemann for them to realize this. See, they are knowingly or unknowingly following Hahnemann. Another important thing is, there is a worldwide thinking to go back to nature. We have seen this in agriculture. Organic farming is coming up in a big way. People are ready to pay 4 times more for these organic products. Like that, in medicine also, this organic will come. And homeopathy stands first, mainly because there is no side effects. And another important thing which COVID taught us, the whole humanity, is natural immunity is the best. And you can survive only with that. Because whenever a new disease comes, if your natural immunity is good, you can survive, or you will meet with the death, whether you are in America, Canada, or wherever it is. Wherever you have the best medical aid or anything, best hospitals or anything, nothing can save you if you don't have the natural general immunity. So more and more people will go into that. So this is the situation which we see now. And there lies the scope of homeopathy. We are the system which goes deeper into a deeper level. We identify the cause of the disease. We try to remove it, bring these people to a healthy state where they can live without medicine. This is the scope of homeopathy. I am sure that homeopathy is the medicine for the next century. More and more people will come to us. I'm sure that the arsenic alb has been used by at least 10 million people who have never heard of homeopathy. Because I am getting calls from Africa, remote parts of Africa, Australia, New Zealand, from everywhere. That shows that after this COVID is over,